So recently, I've discovered this pattern in people's products like Alex Hormozzi's or Hamza's or Eli Abdal's. Like these people use a certain type of pattern in their books or in their videos that get great responses. And I think I've cracked the code on how do they get these responses and what makes their products so valuable and so unique that everybody likes them who reads them. So this kind of technique, I'm not sure if they do it like intentionally or it's a subconscious thing, but it is basically type of products that use the reader's own intellect and the reader's own like kind of discipline or mindset or personality, and it takes that thing. Like for example, if I'm reading a book, that book takes my abilities and basically instructs me to come up with things, and I think it is because of the book, but it is actually because of my own thinking. So basically it becomes the catalyst for me to generate great ideas, or for example, to take action which I wasn't taking previously. So for example, if I'm reading a book on how to get in shape, so that book doesn't actually like contain things like, okay, do this exercise like this way or eat this way. It contains knowledge that prompts me to find these things, and I will think that, okay, this is because of this book or this is because of this course. And that is something really interesting actually, because once you create something like this, it will be unique to everybody who reads it. And a great example of this book, I would say, is any of the philosophical books or poetry. Like you can find this basically anywhere. That if you read great poetry or if you read some great philosophers, you will find that the things they said. For example, if you read meditations in that book, you will find things that are relevant even today, and it was written like 2000 years ago. So what causes something to be this great and timeless? It is writing in a way that prompts, like that is vague enough but still prompts the reader to kind of get an idea of what you're saying. And I say it is present in poetry as well, because like some pieces of poetry, especially in Urdu literature, like they resonate so perfectly with some people, even though the writer probably doesn't know what I'm feeling, right? But if I read something written by him and it just resonates perfectly with me, right, then I will think that that is a great piece of poetry or great piece of literature or whatever. So we can apply that same bit of like pattern or knowledge to making products for in this day and age. It can be like, basically I think it will be useful for info products like a book or a course. But basically we will write or make our product designed in a way that prompts the reader to think for themselves. But we don't have to make it seem like this, because then they'll be like, okay, I'm doing everything, like what does this book even have to do with it, right? But we prompt them to use our words to make actions or make knowledge of for themselves. And I'll try to get an example of these kind of books like in the comments as well, because I really can't think of one right now. So I'll stick with the analogy of books, for example, that are using this pattern to first of all like give a ton of value to their readers, and also to make loads of money by selling like 1 million copies and becoming the New York bestsellers and stuff like that. But you can apply that to anywhere. Like you can apply that to your videos, you can apply that to your courses, anything like that. So what I'm trying to get at is like your book should contain words that basically get the gears turning of the reader and think for themselves. And I think this type of product will resonate with the most amount of people, because anybody can get knowledge from out of it within their own context, right? Like you don't have to know the reader personally to give them value. You just have to share your way of thinking and how you do things, and they can apply that to their own thing. Like an example of this would be, for example, how you schedule your day, right? Now I schedule my day differently, and I have to do different things from different people. But if I just teach them how to manage my time and how I manage my time and how to schedule their calendar, they can use that knowledge to schedule their day, but they will use it to do different things, and they will like benefit from it in a way that is different to mine. So that is kind of what we will basically do with our books or products, that we will write in a way that will teach our way of thought to that person. And this can be related to any niche at all, like business, self improvement, or even like philosophy, as I said earlier. Like you can use this to basically get the gate turning for anybody, and they will think that okay, this guy has been so valuable. And you let's be honest, like you aren't being not valuable by doing this, but this idea is so perfect because you don't have to basically get in the hurdle of thinking, okay, if is this thing gonna resonate with that person, or will it be really valuable for everybody, because it kind of covers a wide area for anyone who is even mildly related to what you're saying. And I think this is a great way to make really good products, because people want to read this kind of stuff, because you never get bored, and they actually kind of feel proud that they came up with this thing themselves, and they feel like this is some kind of an accident, a sort of like, okay, I'm reading this book and oh shit, I got this idea and this is a great idea. But that was your intention all along, because you wrote that book with that intention that when people read this book, they will get ideas like these, and they will think it is because of the book, but it is actually because of the book. But in reality, it is just them applying what the book says to their situation and finding ways through it. So I don't know how well I was able to explain my idea in this video, because it's really difficult to iterate, but I will try to put like a very concise description of it in the description of this YouTube video. So if you like want to present it to somebody else, or even if you want to explain it to yourself in a more memorable way, then you can just memorize that 2 or 3 lines and you will be able to get a good idea of what I'm saying.